Um, and I, and I, and I, the reason you came on is an important topic.
Yes,
Um,
absolutely.
we've all Damon's had his bout with dealing with as a father having to go through the court system. I've had my bout, and we talked about that, and you were telling me a little bit about what you were facing, and
Yes.
things are different now. Like I said, my daughter's 32, but back then the father didn't have a lot of rights, and there weren't like father rights groups. You know what I'm saying? For like
Mm-hmm.
for the father and people where and places for you to go to get the information that you need to even mount a good
Try to
defense.
fight it, yeah, to have a good
Right.
case against the system, right?
You didn't have all that. It's better now, but it still has a long way to go. So I'm gonna just let
Right.
you take it off.
Extremely, extremely. Yeah, my experience in there was horrific. I mean, the very first day for me was just, when I walked in the child support courtroom. I mean, even I was reading the transcripts, and I was telling people on my social media last night. I just got the transcripts this week. I'm going to be reading some of these transcripts online so people can see. There was a moment when we were in the courtroom. I had lost my business due to the pandemic, and I was working for the Empower You program, and that program was shut down. So when you look at the actual income I was making, it was like a $40,000 cut in pay that I was going to be making. And this is February of 2020, that everything kind of shut down for me. Only income I had was the mayor of the city. I was mayor of the city. That was the only income I had, and that was about 18,000 a year. So you're talking about going from like 62,000, 65,000 a year to 18,000 a year, and you see that projection in February. So I filed for a modification in child support. I was paying $700 a month in child support. And I went to the courtroom in March, and I explained everything to the judge, and the transcripts. I had this like nothing I'm saying is being made up. I want that to be very clear. I got the transcript, so I asked for modification, and she says, "Why should I give you a modification?" I said, "Well, because I'm losing all my business pretty much. Nobody's hiring a DJ or entertainer for group events anymore because of the pandemic." And I just lost the job that I had working with the Empower You program. So I'm taking about a good $38,000 to $45,000 hit per year. So she says, well, you know what? And this is verbatim in this transcript. We'll come back here. I need proof that Monday through Friday, 8 hours a day, that you've been applying for a job before I can make the change. And it's like, okay, I could turn my phone on and apply for a job right now, but there's a pandemic outside. Like, they're laying people off left and right. They're shutting down businesses. I mean, I can apply, but that's not going to change the income. Now,
Right.
the state law states that once you have a $5,000 increase or decrease in income, you can modify your court order. So I didn't even have to tell her about the job. I could just told her that my business took an $8,000 hit, and that would have been grounds to modify my income. Modify the child support. So she says, I need proof that you've been applying for jobs 5 days a week, 8 hours a day.
In a pandemic, though. But
In
this
a
is
pandemic, Damon. But let me tell you, it's not even the worst part. I said, okay, you know what? When we come back, I'll bring in 50 applications. I'll bring in every application on this planet. I'll file for unemployment. I'll have proof of that. I'll get whatever you want. That's not going to change the income that I have. So
right.
she said, okay, so it's settled. We'll be back here September 18th. What? So March, April, May, June, July, August, September, I'm going to be paying $700 a month because I didn't prove to you that I was spending 8 hours a day filling out applications. So now that I'm making $18,000 a year, I'm still paying what I would be paying if I was making $48,000 to $60,000 a year,
Right.
because she didn't have proof that I was applying for a job. And it was just, but I'll tell you what, through everything I went through, and my daughter's mother hired Frank Catalina, my predecessor. She hired him as her attorney to
The
take full custody of my daughter. It was,
The Republican mayor that you ran
yes, and they didn't even see that as a conflict of interest in the courts. Like, it was just like they were just throwing me left and right. But there was one moment, and I looked at the transcripts the other night. In one hearing, the judge addressed me 9 times, and 5 of those 9 times she interrupted me from talking. She asked, if I'm going to give you this modification, I need to know why you think that you should be paying 25% less. And I said, well, based on the information I gave you when I was back here in February, I'm behind now. And I said on the transcripts, I'm behind on my rent now. I'm behind on my Con Ed bill. Even my car insurance is behind now, because the income that I usually have, I haven't had in 7 months. And you put me in this position. So she says, and I said, plus my daughter's mother is on different, assistance in different public programs. So she says, well, what kind of programs? I said, well, one program that she's using is WIC. WIC's not a public program. That's how you feed your kids, but you can keep talking while I'm listening. And I was like, so I said on the transcript, I said, you know what? Let's not even talk about child support no more. Give her what you want. You're not going to talk to me like that, though. And it just went downhill from there. So long story short, we went back and forth for about maybe like 5-10 minutes. We closed out the court hearing. We came back a month later to make her decision on if she was going to modify the case. And basically, she said that she had to recuse herself because she couldn't handle our case without her being biased. So a week later, September 24th, a new magistrate comes in, looks at the documentation, looks at the taxes, look at all the information that we submitted this lady back in, March of 2020. Now this is September 2021. Now we're talking about. No circumstances on my behalf changed, and he changed everything. Removed child support and everything. So it was hard for me to say that she wasn't biased from the beginning, because this new person comes in a week, literally, not even, exaggeratively, literally the next Friday, we had a hearing with him with the same exact documentation that she's had for the past 2 years. He got it, and the day he came in, he switched everything.
Wow.
Yeah, so I'm not paying child support now. And on top of that, they said the child support.
And to be clear, that was because the judge said you had overpaid.
They sent me a check of $1,800, which I posted that check on Facebook. Like, can you believe this? It was just. So what I did was I decided I'm going to file a complaint on this judge to see what this is about. And then when I filed the complaint, after she recused herself, the state told me that they needed the transcripts. So I got the transcripts now. I'm sending that to them, and they said once they get the transcripts, if they see probable cause, they can investigate. When I put that post on social media about me winning the custody, about me winning the child support, and I told people who my child support magistrate was and how disrespectful she was, everybody in this, from Poughkeepsie to Connecticut to Harlem, wrote me and inboxed me, yo, she was extremely disrespectful to me, like mothers, though. I had one of my friends say she put her son on child support, and, after leaving the courtroom, she took him over and just said, we could work this out, because that lady was so disrespectful to him. When you walk in her courtroom, you're automatically wrong. You're automatically the bad guy. And, on top of that, just being black, it just makes it so much more frustrating. When you walk in these courtrooms, it's like, the initial conversation when she, we walked in the courtroom, she had everybody raise their right hand. It's, we're going to promise to tell the truth, to help you God. And we said, yes. So she says, all right, so what paperwork did you bring today? And I say, I have my taxes. I'm not talking to you, sir. I'm talking to her. Oh, okay. Well, you didn't say a name. Okay, sir. I said, I'm talking to her. And I was like, okay. But this was the very, very, very first conversation I ever had with this person. She says, after we both raise our hand and say our names, what paperwork and documentation do you have today? And I start saying it, and she just, I'm not talking to you, sir.
Wow.
Oh, well, I'm sorry. Well, you didn't say a name, so sir, you're still talking. I'm not talking to you.
Wow.
So, like I said, after the second hearing, I told her, I said, look, you know what? Give her what you want. We're going to talk differently. We're going to talk about us now. You're not going to talk to me like that.
Did you have a lawyer?
I ended up getting one after that second hearing. Yeah. Yeah, after that second, because I figure I go in there, I give her my paperwork, she comes up with a number, and I New York State says up to 17%, meaning the judge has the opportunity to look at the circumstances and make a determination on how much of that percentage that you want. But now, what I'm pushing now, after my experience, first of all, I'm pushing to get her the heck out of there. Like, I want her out. I'm doing everything in my power to get her out of there. I'm telling people, if you've dealt with her and you have transcripts, I'll pay to get them to validate my case against her, because she's obnoxious, and nobody should be able to take abuse of that type of power. Nobody. So I want her out of there. Second thing is, in states like Kentucky, for example, the National Parents Organization, they pushed this legislation for shared parenting rights. When a child is born, whether the parents are married or the parents get divorced, when a child is born in Kentucky and Alaska, the shared parenting bill allows both parents automatically equal responsibility of the child. So no hurt person, whether mother or father, can wake up and say, oh man, Damon, he broke my heart. I'm done with him. I'm taking my kid and we moving to Japan. Like in New York, you have to file a custody order to prevent that. In Kentucky, you have to file a custody order to do that. Right. You cannot move outside of the county your child lives in, the parents live in, without consent of the other parent or without custody order. And in Kentucky, you can't just break up with somebody and say, I'm putting him on child support. You know, he's a man, I'm putting him on child support. In Kentucky, you have to prove that the other parent, whether male or female, the other parent is not financially responsible or capable of taking care of your child. Then you can get child support. It's the complete opposite in New York. And they grade the states on shared parenting rights. And Alaska, California even has like a B now, from A to F, A being the best, F being the worst. California has a B, Kentucky and Alaska have A's, Florida has a C or something like that. New York is amongst 9 states that all have F's, meaning they're failing when it comes to shared parenting rights and shared parenting roles and responsibilities. When you're born in New York, the mother's automatically custodial parent. So even when they tell me, like they're telling me now, you got shared rights with your child, you got equal time, but she's the custodial parent. So you guys get to make decisions together. But if she decides to make this decision, that doesn't make any sense. You know, so it's a fight now. For me personally, is to get her out of that chair, then to look at new legislation for the state of New York.
So you had a rally. Talk about the rally that just happened.
Yeah. So
that was about.
Yeah, so I wanted to push the rally. My thing is, I know how, especially when I've organized rallies before, I know how much rallies make awareness, and it draws the attention that you want to some sort of change. But I also realize that at these rallies, that's the opportunity. When you get 300 people to come out, that's not just an opportunity to go up there and say a powerful speech so everybody can leave and say, oh, Andre did a good job speaking. This is an opportunity to start giving these people information, you know, national parenting organization, fathers' rights groups, like give these people access and information so they can know their rights. But I'll tell you, you know, it was probably one of the most emotional rallies that I've ever held, other than the one I did at the Pew Park and Peekskill for the one that everybody the guy that was killed with the knee on his neck,
George Floyd.
George Floyd. Yeah, you know, that rally was just like, yeah, we was all in tears after that rally. But at this rally, it had to be about maybe 20, you know, people there. About 17, 18 of them were fathers. The other 3 were just kind of there because they heard about it, you know. But each and every one of these fathers that came up there were just spilling out their stories on how they were disrespected in the courtroom. They weren't treated fair. They were biased, and the judge didn't even look at them. The judge cut them off every time they spoke. The judge wasn't reasonable with her choice of what's going to happen going forward with the kid. And it, you know, my daughter's mother violated the court order that we agreed to 43 times before the judge said, okay, I'm going to give you equal opportunity with your daughter. 43 times. And I told her in the courtroom, I'm not going to make this a gender thing. I'm not going to make this a black racial thing. But I don't know one policy on this planet or law that I can break 43 times and walk away like nothing happened. She's the only person I've ever seen do that, Your Honor.
No,
only person I've ever seen.
Real. Dude.
And when I say violate the court order, I don't mean like it was a thunderstorm outside and snowstorm and she couldn't drive, so she didn't let me see my kid. I mean, she texted me in the app that the judge can read. She texted me on Halloween, hey, I made plans today, so I'll let you know you can see your daughter again, but I'm keeping her this weekend. How are you keeping her on my weekend? I haven't spent one Father's Day with my daughter yet, and she'll be 4 in November. 2 Christmases done gone and went. 2 Thanksgivings done gone and went. My other children's birthdays done gone and went. One of her birthdays gone and went. These are all days that we agreed to in the courtroom that either we share or have.
And she violates them just willingly.
43 times. Damn it. I got 22
that's crazy,
incident reports. 22 incident reports from Peekskill Police and 4 from Beacon Police, 2 on Thanksgiving days. And the police, and I understand them, but the police say the same thing. You know, I really, I really understand how you feel, but take this to the judge, man. Let the judge put out a warrant, because I feel like I can't just arrest the mother. And my thing is, I told the judge.
This is under the same judge?
Oh no, these are 2 separate. So child support for some reason and custody is completely different.
No, two different cases.
Right. No. Right. I got that. So
yeah, 2 different judges. Yeah, one's but the custody court judge, though I didn't like everything that she did and everything that she let pass, a lot of it I understood, but she respected me in her courtroom and she allowed me to express my piece. And she made it. It took 43 violations, but she finally came to the conclusion of saying, you know what, ma'am, you're just not getting it. You know, so you got 3 options. It could be a fine, it could be a warrant for your arrest, or you can agree to work with their father, and that'll be changing the time with your daughter. And she did. But the child support judge, I mean, she told me when I told her about the WIC and the welfare, she said, you know, those aren't all public assistance programs. WIC is not public assistance. That's how you feed your kid. But you can talk while I'm still listening. But let me tell you something, Miss Rainey. Now is not the time to attack the mother because she has cards to put you in jail right now. It's really up to her. And I said, how?
Yo,
You
but
know, and
these aren't these judges, if I'm not mistaken, right? They're aren't they elected in office?
they're
Yes.
appointed. Yeah, they're
What?
appointed.
They're appointed or they're elected?
So
Because these are family court judges.
these are family court judges. So they may be elected. I have to double
Yeah,
check, but like
because family court judges are elected. Now I'm
elected.
not
Okay.
sure. You so when you had the rally, it was at Poughkeepsie,
Yeah, right
right?
in front of the courtroom.
So
Correct.
that's not. Wait, is Poughkeepsie? No, Poughkeepsie's not in Westchester, right?
No, that's Dutchess County.
So you got to find out. See, because I was under understanding because when I went for custody, I had to come before. I was in New Rochelle. I had to come before a family court judge, right? And I know even with child support, it was a judge. Now, whether that judge for child support was elected or not, I'm not too sure, right?
Okay.
This is a long time ago. My son's 33, so this is a long time ago.
Right.
So, but what has to happen, you know, because I went through the same thing, like the perception of you being a man, right? And I ended up getting custody of my son, but the perception is that we are always the defendants, even though on the court paper I was the plaintiff, right? But when I walked in there, I was presumed guilty just because I'm a man.
Yeah.
Right? Just because I'm a man. You know, I sat there, you know, my son's mother tried to stop the child support when my son went to college, but she didn't know I knew the law. Like, you gotta pay. But when I sat down, I was the judge saw me as the defendant. I had to tell her, I said, excuse me, ma'am, you gotta look at the paper. Right? I'm the one getting child support here. Right? Right? I'm the one. You look giving me the fever. You know what I'm saying? I'm like,
wait a minute.
Wait a minute. Something's not right. Exactly. She was like, she had the attitude with me, and I'm sitting there, I'm like, wait a minute. And then when she was talking, I was like, hold on, wait, excuse me. I'm the one getting child support. So she had to look at the paperwork and she had to correct her attitude, right? And literally adjust her attitude. So I get it, bro. I get how they treat men, you know, even good fathers,
Right.
And how they treat it. But we need to start looking at these judges,
Exactly.
right? And if they're and they are elected officials, run campaigns against them, so they can't they can't get elected again. If they're not going to be fair, then we have to call them out for not being fair.
100%. And one of the things I said in my speech that I had on Friday at the rally was, you know, we got to find out, you know, when her term is up, because whoever, and I mentioned that too. I said, I don't know if it's the elected officials and the mayor and the city and town of Poughkeepsie, or if it's an organization that puts this forward. But we have to make sure that when we get word that her term is up, that we push as hard as we can to make sure she's never in office again. So, but again, like the challenge is also like, when I walked in the courtroom, even my attorney, you know, he now that some of that's pretty much done, you know, he says to me to this day, he says, you know, I don't know who your warriors are, but you know, I've been doing this for 18 years. I've never seen anybody walk out with this. Like, this is, you know, no child support, equal time with your daughter, literally equal time, physical joint custody of your daughter, and she's 3. Like, this is a blessing that but when you walk in the courtroom as a man, you know, even the police officers and support magistrates, Gene Pasalos' courtroom was like, yo, just chill, man. She's always like this. Like, just let her say what she has to say and just settle, man, because she's always like this. And he is, as an African American, I think he thinks that he's helping me. And I'm like, I'm not. I wasn't raised in my family to allow anybody to disrespect you, let alone somebody in a position of power. You know, we
Right.
treat everybody how we want to be treated. I don't care who you are. If you're the chief of my city police department, if you're a firefighter, if you're my little cousin, like whoever you are, if you're going to address me, you're going to address me with respect, because that's how I'm addressing you. Don't
Right.
think that I deserve no respect because I'm a man, I'm black, and because you're in the judge's seat. We'll challenge that too.
Yeah,
You know, and
I told you I had a situation. Michael Hannon said a judge named, I guess Janet Malone was fair to him. There are some fair judges. Yo, Damon, I
yeah,
think I told you about this. So my case was in Suffolk County, Long Island. So that's a whole nother level. So
Right.
so they supposedly sent me a paper for a court date, but they said they didn't have my right address, or they didn't know where to find me. But when I didn't show up, the Suffolk County Sheriff Department knew where the hell to come pick me up at, though. Missing the court date.
you know,
It's
you know that just nah, I can't mail him nothing. All right, we gotta
so
pick him
so
up. Yeah, he
so
live
it
right
was
on.
just like, I'm like, yo, how did y'all not know where to send the paper, but y'all knew where to come pick me up? You know what I'm saying? And it's like, then they picked me up late on Friday, so it's an hour something drive out there. So now I got to spend the whole weekend until Monday.
Let me tell you how.
Before I can see anybody. And they made me come into court with handcuffs on.
Yeah, see, that's
I was like, yo, I missed the court date, dude. I didn't rob a bank or blow up anything, dude.
But
I missed the court date that I didn't know about. Like,
yeah, check this out. AJ, my daughter was born November 20th, and my daughter's mother, November 20th, 2018, and November 24th, my daughter's mother moved to Beacon without telling me where she moved. I went to her job, and I met some people on the inside that knew a new address that she had. So I went to that address, and that address was incorrect. It was in the right city, but the address was incorrect. So, I'm going back and forth, contacting her family, friends, Facebook people, like, yo, I haven't seen my daughter in a couple of days. Like, I'm getting ready to really like lose it. I get a letter in the mail, day for my birthday, December 16th. I done called the Beacon police. I didn't call the Peekskill police, called the state trooper, and they're all like, okay, whatever. But it's, it was a crazy process. I found out where she lived because I got a letter in the mail saying that she was serving me for child support. Now, when she served me for child support and I got her address, I immediately went to the court and filed for custody. And when we went to the courtroom, I told the judge, first of all, I don't even know if it makes sense to be able to have a child support in place without having a custody order in place. Because you don't even know who's taking care of my kid. You have no proof of who's taking care of my child. All you know is this woman's over here asking me for money, but no problem. When I went to the courtroom for for custody, they said, okay, we're going to schedule, this was in January, we're going to schedule a court date in March to handle out these differences. Until then, the mother will remain the custodial parent.
And you gotta be paying child support before
and you got to pay child support. Yep. Yeah, you got to pay. So it was just the whole, like I said, when you look at the example and look up New York, everybody watching, look up New York Parents, National Parents Organization, look at the legislation they passed in Kentucky and Alaska, and they're trying to do in California and Florida now, and Alabama, I believe, too. But when you separate with somebody, you don't have the right to move out of that county without an order in place. And places like New York, you don't need permission. You can move to Florida with your child tomorrow as the mother because you're automatically the custodial parent in New York. The fathers don't have rights to their children in New York. And we're not attacking women or bad-mouthing women. We just want shared parenting rights. And it also helps the women because it's not a burden anymore. You don't have to say that, oh, my child is here now. He doesn't have any responsibility. Yes, with the shared parenting bill, now he has equal responsibility. So whatever your child needs, he has to do 50% of it, whether it's daycare or diapers and everything. Like if you're separated, you agree that when the child is born, 50% equally shared time, money, and everything goes down the middle in these other states. In New York, it's the complete opposite. You're automatically the custodial parent as a mother when the child is born.
This is definitely an important topic. It's definitely something I definitely want to continue. I definitely invite you if you want to write an editorial, explaining all of that, explaining the different laws in the different states, and listing some of the organizations for new fathers that are going through this for the first time, because there was none of that for me 33 years ago. You know what I'm saying? So like just informing fathers of their rights. You know, if you want to do something like that, we will definitely run it.
Okay, yeah, I've been writing a lot, so I work on getting that over to you. And like I said, just to share with the people, if you go on my social media, especially my Facebook, I'm going to be keeping everybody updated on the process of the complaint with this support magistrate. And you know, because like I said, my ultimate goal is to change legislation in the state of New York to be similar to what they have in the other states where they would have shared parenting rights. But my personal goal is to get this person out of office. I mean, like I said, I walked in that courtroom and it was just, you would have thought that I was like one of those deadbeat fathers who doesn't even know his kid's name, what his kid looks like. Like, it was just the way she treated me in the courtroom. I felt like I really, really violated the law somehow. All I did was broke up with the person. And that does not amount to me being treated, talked to, and given the disrespect that I was given. And also with the circumstances that I shared, I wasn't running away from child support. I didn't say I didn't want to pay. I just asked for on record a 25% decrease based on me losing almost $40-something thousand a year, which we had proof of. I provided proof. I had to get letters from my employers saying, hey, we're not doing this anymore. You know, it was a federally granted program. And she still said, I can't change anything until you prove to me that you've been applying for jobs for at least 8 hours a day, 5 days a week since March.
That's crazy.
And this is on record. Like, this is in the transcripts. It's not like I think she said this. This is in the transcripts.
When I post this on I'm gonna edit the video to just this part and I'm gonna post it on Black Westchester. Make sure you send me any links that you want people to know, anything so people can go, you know, how to follow you and all that kind of stuff. Send me all that under the video, and anything else you want shared, I'll put it there, and you know, we make sure we blast that out.
Okay, I'll send it to you for sure. But I appreciate you, brothers, for always giving us a platform, man, to get some of this information out. But I really see some changes coming down the line. You know, and it might not be, you know, effective for us, but the next generation of fathers, they'll have a little bit less of a burden on their shoulders when they have these issues. So, you know, and the mental and emotional challenge that this does for fathers. Some fathers walk in courts and get so discouraged and just give up the fight for their own children. It's not even because of the mother, it's because of the system that they walk into. It's just unfair. So I hope that this gives legislation, but I hope it gives hope and power to some of these men who really want to be part of their children's lives.
Absolutely.